And we're live. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View here on a Monday as we are catching back up after this weekend here on a Monday evening here to talk Collision. And as you can see, we are +1 tonight as Mr. Frank Janisch is with us here to talk some Schmoedown Collision after one of the biggest events that we've had here for this league. And we have a lot of cool things to talk about tonight. Matches, in-studio perspectives, being that we do have two on the panel who were there. But before we get to all that, how's everybody doing? Jill, I'll start with you. You're officially in a new pad.
I'm in a new pad. Look at my bare, empty walls. There's nothing here. Everything is in a box, literally right there. I just have not had a moment to even think about where I'm gonna put my streaming stuff. So I'm currently just sitting in my bed, hanging out. I got a Gatorade. Although shout out to Kristen Smith for sending Sean and I housewarming presents already, and she got me a Rapunzel pop. So freaking cute. I know. I don't have any Rapunzel pop figures, so that's definitely gonna go on my streaming setup. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to surprisingly, I know. Like, she asked Sean if I had any, and he was like, I honestly don't think she does, and I don't. So yeah, so it's nice to finally be in our own place, but it's gonna be a hot second before everything is out of boxes. Yeah.
I mean, you do have the box king with you, so you're good. You're good.
Valid.
I want you to do unboxing of his mini people, little
he
men.
Legit talked about. So no lie, he was like, I kind of want to do a stream of me building your vanity, and okay, I'd watch that.
All right. As long as you don't have to do it, right? He's doing it, so.
Yeah.
You're catching on. You're catching on.
See?
Yeah, there you go.
See?
Brian, how you doing, man? I know you had Saturday school this week. You hanging in there?
I'm exhausted. 6-day work week. Sunday, right back to it. I hate kids.
Oh.
They're just.
You're in the wrong profession.
I know. No, they're not. They're not horrible. So far, they've been good. It's just I don't know. They grew a little bit stubborn over quarantine. They are not afraid to say no now to your face. I don't know if quarantine was a good thing anymore for that. But yeah. But today was not too hot of a day, which is nice. Being Sacramento is always hot.
True.
Even though it was hot enough to knock Jake's power out before the show. So there's that.
Let's not get into that. But yeah. I'm glad Frank's here because clearly 3 hours wasn't enough to talk the rundown.
I can't get enough. I need more.
To be fair, I asked him before he did a 3-hour show, so that's
true.
on him.
And that was that last hour was very impromptu. I was like, why not? Just keep going. I'm not doing anything.
Molly, how about you? How you doing?
Doing good. I feel like my schedule is all off because we're doing this on a Monday, and I also did another podcast today, which I don't normally do. So I don't hashtag what day is it really?
I was gonna say hashtag what day is it?
And we did Jacob and Taylor's show yesterday.
How was that? That looked fun.
Yeah, that was really fun, and I had a lot of wine.
Yeah, they started the show a bottle deep, so that's what Alex said.
Queen.
It was good. They tried to throw Jurassic Park and Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl at us. They
did, and I was like, how dare you?
Yeah, that's true. So
how dare you, sir? How dare you?
Jurassic Park won, but still.
What?
Okay, Jill. Pirates is great, but Jurassic Park?
Strongly disagree.
Hot takes by Jill. Wow.
Strongly disagree.
I'm just glad Jesse's taking my spot next week, taking it back because they have to decide between what was it, Molly? T2 and what?
Oh, dang it! Now I can't remember. It was Terminator 2.
Was Two Towers?
Oh, Two Towers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Mara was pissed.
Mara's she's gonna have some fighting words next
That'll be
time.
exciting.
She was like, I'm going to be outside your window by the next time. Like, she was not having it. So, Molly, we're out on this one.
Frank, how you doing, man? You've been busy. You know, you had the taping for the Cantina stuff yesterday. It's been crazy with Schmoedown, work life. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Doesn't feel like a Monday. It's still because when you have a taping, you know, sometimes they're, you know, especially like a live event. Even though it wasn't a live event, it was a live taped kind of event. So those usually happen like on a Saturday, right? So
Yeah.
treated it like a Saturday, and during the taping, after taping, we treated it like a Saturday. And
Are
woke up this
you?
morning.
Did y'all party? Did y'all party after?
There were extracurriculars, sure, and
Party.
no, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
That's why we saw you getting some Taco Bell before the show.
Yeah. I also had to get some fuel. Good old Baja Blast. Just God, it's so good.
That
I always
actually
take a-
wasn't Baja Blast. It was actually full of Pedialyte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to hydrate.
No, I'm doing pretty good though. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, thanks for having me on here, and looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say and really break some of the stuff down, because there's a lot that happened.
There was a lot that happened. There was a lot that happened. 4 big matches, 2 in studio, 2 digital. Cutscenes, production value. We're going to get into all of it. And I want to start this off before we get into matches. I said it up top. Both Jill and Frank were in person. You saw them on the stream. They were there. I kind of want to pick your guys' brains a little bit about being back, what it was like, the atmosphere, seeing people for the first time. Obviously, it's a whole new studio. It's been, 13, 14 months or whatever. What did it feel like walking through those doors and seeing everybody back to compete in a Schmoedown match, just with everyone involved, Captain Morgan, all that stuff? Jill, I'll start with you. What did it feel like?
It's surreal, to be honest. Like, it was because we hadn't seen each other in a year and a half, So it was like, but we hadn't seen each other in person for a year and a half, but also on the same side, it's like we still talk to this group of people like all the freaking time. Like, I see Shannon pretty much every week, like on Zoom, or same with like Frank or like Rachel Silvestrini and Saul, and so it was kind of interesting. Like, I haven't like missed you guys really, but also I miss you guys kind of like thing, Like, it was one of those really weird things. But as you saw by the way, I hope they did those behind the scenes like video things for all live events now, because that was so freaking cool and that got me so pumped up. But as you saw with Kate's little video montage where she literally hugged everybody in sight, that was pretty much everybody. Like, whenever someone entered, it was like, oh my God, like freak out hug.
But who was the first?
I think it was Ellis, to be honest. I think Ellis was the first one.
That's a good person to be your first hug.
Yeah, that's his first good hug.
He came out when because we had to sign, we had to sign like waivers and stuff because it was like taping, and so you were signing stuff. And then Mark came out and he was like, "Oh my God, you guys are here!" And like, so I think it was Ellis that we saw first. But no, it was nice. It was just it was like that Chewy we're home kind of moment, like. Because, like, that was, like, Frankie knows, that what we did on Saturdays. We'd go to the studio, we'd hang out. That's what we did. And so just to get kind of sense of normalcy back for a bit, it was a long freaking day. Let me tell you, it was a long day. But it was just fun just to hang out and drink some Captain Morgan and see
I was going to
everybody.
say, I mean, it's a sponsorship of Captain Morgan. There was clearly plenty of it. Clearly plenty of it.
There was plenty of it, but I don't know that there was plenty to drink.
Oh,
that's fair.
Oh, see, I didn't drink any until Dwayne. There was a table of premium cocktails, and Dwayne was like, "We need someone to drink these because these are just going to be sitting here." And I was like,
"That tracks."
Jill's like, "I'll take one for the team.
I'll do it, guys."
And I missed that part because then all I could get was the non-alcoholic versions of their mixed drinks, which are still pretty good.
They were very good because they had to stop serving after a bit. But can we just talk about Frankie Janisch in a suit, though? Because Frankie in a suit is just...
Yeah. It's a treat, isn't it?
It's a treat.
It's a treat for us, treat for the eyes, treat for the fans.
Yeah. I can't do it too often because, people get weird around me when I do. So
Wow.
I get it.
it's just
I get it.
safer. It's just safer for everyone, And plus, I can't be showing up Brad Gilmore all the time. That's his thing. I can't take it away from him. So
That's all he
is that?
has.
that's all he's got.
Yes.
It's his whole identity just in a suit. Yeah.
I do want to bring up this comment real quick. Brian Ward, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith's custom
Dude.
jersey.
I was watching it last night and I literally went out to Sean and I said, they made a Kevin Smith hockey jersey with the
That's
Quirky Works
badass.
logo. And Sean went, that's
Badass.
the coolest fucking thing. Because he's a huge Kevin Smith fan. He was like,
I
that's rad.
really badly want a dungeon one. Just the giant dungeon.
They
cave
can't. It's a
logo.
Kevin Smith thing. It's going to be
I
on whatever
know,
dungeon Kevin Smith
But
is
it's so
in.
cool.
Frank, for you, I mean, look, you've been doing the pre-shows for quite a while with these live events. You and Brad, or you and Jen, or a combination of the three of you. What did it feel like, kind of stepping back in, interviews, talking to a bunch of people, and just being back?
Yeah, where's my stats by numbers that I was waiting for?
Did you not watch the pre-show?
No, I want like the little like cutaway to Brad, and it's like, oh hey, like you used to do.
I mean, there was a version of that in the pre-show.
Yeah. We
Oh,
That's what
then
I had.
maybe I missed that part.
yeah, you must have missed that whole
literally
15-minute
watched it.
chunk.
There was like,
it was
yeah,
like
it was like a
15
20
minutes, bro.
of Frank
Yeah.
just talking.
I
to
watched it
himself.
from back to first, so that's probably why.
Okay, all right.
It's like
That sounds
15 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw this you freak out with video Drew, and that was
Yeah,
enough
no,
for me.
that's definitely a highlight. Yeah, that was great. I remember Christian came up to me and Video Drew and was like, "Hey, we do this thing, blah blah blah." And I was like, "All right, yeah, sure." And so we go do it. We only did one take of it, and
I'm not surprised with her.
yeah, and then we walk out of the room and we see Christian again. He's like, "That's it? You guys are done?" I was like, "Yeah, we fucking nailed that shit." Sorry. And so
We are professionals.
yeah, I was like, it was one take, and I was like, and like the camera operator was like laughing, so I was like, that's good enough for me, And so I was like, I think we're done here. Although when I watched it back, there's a couple things that I wish I would have did a little bit more, but it still worked out really, really well. I'm really glad how it turned out, and I think my idea, and I told this to Video Drew the other day. I was like, wouldn't it be interesting or fun that whenever there's like these big events, whether it's a live event, collision, spectacular, free for all, we just reunite for and like have one of those interviews every event, and maybe we'll do one at spectacular, and kind of
Do
just
it.
that'll be like the running bit from like from each event, which would be really fun. And just kind of like build off of each one and like have
Yeah.
like a weird history of our interviews together. So that would be fun.
Do it.
As far as seeing everybody else in studio, and I think Jill has talked about, I've seen a bunch of these people. I think like a couple of times before we even saw everyone else again back at studio in some form or fashion. And so it was cool though to see everybody back in that setting, where we're all gathered there together to do something silly, stupid, fun, hilarious, exciting, entertaining, and just like everyone getting together and just put it on like one big skit of like, hey, what if we do movie trivia? What if we just did it like really big? Like, yeah, what if we got like cameras? What if we got smoke machines? What if we got light?
The
So it's just-
smoke machines
Yeah,
were
yeah.
so freaking good. Like
That
watching
might have
that being so
It might have been my favorite part of seeing like the slow-mo intros, and like it feels like a total sports
Yeah.
thing when someone's introducing themselves and they're just sitting there on it's so cool. You see like Saul is just stone-faced. Brendan Meyer is grinning ear to ear. Like it's totally different for each person, which why it makes it so fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very excited with how the production went, and knowing that it's going to continue to get better from here. Because we're all like, actually, I think for a large part of that team has thought about this is what they want to do, this is how it could look. Then they finally get to put it into practice. But then when you put it into practice, then you go, oh, maybe we can do this a little bit different or this a little bit better. And so I know going forward, especially, I'm very excited then for Spectacular, because there's going to be another version, another vision of what we're doing, but now it's going to be even better, I think. And overall, I think it was a great first production of this type of scale and size and quality. But the thing that got me the most excited though is like, all right, we got this one done. What are we gonna do for the next one? Because I know there's a lot more ideas kicking around and ways to accomplish the production. So yeah, it's very exciting to know that we're kind of like at this level, and this is kind of like the idea of when Schmoedown and Skybound got together. This was kind of like the idea of what, and then this idea got stalled for like a year and a half. So we're finally getting the chance to do it, and I think it started off in a really great direction.
Yeah, just imagine having a year and a half of doing this, what it could look like now. But I mean, first product out of the gate, and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just get into it because we do have 4 to break down, discuss, talk about. Let's go through release order. So we'll start with the first digital match of the day, and that is the Star Wars match between Andrew DiMolanta and Laura Kelly. These two have been waiting to face off for quite a while, and it's been something that's been in the works for a little bit as well. Laura's been waiting since February to play this match, and unfortunately for her, she came just short. And Andrew DiMolanta defends the belt once again up against someone he has played in the past in a very, very well-fought match on both ends. Molly, I'm going to start with you. You're the active Star Wars competitor here. You're probably playing along, got some thoughts. What did you think about DiMolanta Kelly?
I loved this match. It was a great match to watch and play along to. They both did really well. I feel like Laura struggled a little bit in the speed round, which
For sure.
I would bomb a speed round most likely. But yeah, the questions were great. I thought there was like a really good mix of like easier. Oh, bye, Jill. not easier questions, but it was like more surface level stuff, and then there was some in there that were like really deep cuts. So yeah, and I loved seeing their promo work too, and just like how they cut together like all of their stuff that they've ever kind of like done together since the 5-way at Celebration. Yeah, it was really, really entertaining.
Yeah, I loved seeing, and you expect this with this type of match, but every round had like levels of questions in them. Like you could have had quote unquote like a surface level question in there somewhere, but then the very next question could have been something that totally stumped you. And I have never seen either of them struggle in the first round like they did in this match. They both struggled a lot.
Yeah.
And I had never seen that from either of them. So I knew right out of the gate, like, okay, this thing's going to be an absolute banger. This thing's going to come down to the wire. It's going to go back and forth. And it definitely lived up to that. Brian, what did you think about this thing watching it through 5 rounds?
That Molly needs to stop saying make harder questions because they're clearly coming for blood now.
PJ's sitting back. He's twirling his little mustache.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
And Jeremy, yeah.
Life Zone. What the heck? I still don't know what that is.
Question's ridiculous.
That was a new one to me.
I was like, I still don't even understand what they're asking or what they're asking for. It was just like, what? Like, this is insane. Great match. Honestly, like, if there was no speed round, like, this would have been possibly a different story. Like, I mean, Laura kept up. That speed round, she looked visibly uncomfortable. Like,
100%.
Which, I would probably be the same way because I try to do it, but there was a lot of numbers and they weren't difficult, but it made you stop and think. And I'm pretty sure I saw someone say that in the chat too. They were ones where you had to literally spend a second and go, okay, wait.
Yeah, the two that you're talking about, I'm guessing, are how many movies were Boba Fett in, and how many directors have directed live action Star Wars movies.
That one was the one that got me, where I was like, no. Because
a lot of people, and obviously we're talking about Star Wars nerds here, but a lot of people think that George Lucas directed all 3 of the originals.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can get in your head if it's something that's been there, and you don't realize that there were actually 2 other directors. Then you got to think about Ryan, JJ, Gareth Edwards, and then obviously Ron Howard. And then we got to also wonder, what about Chris Lord, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller? But that could also pop in your head at that point as well. But that's a hard question. That is a very, very hard question, especially for speed round.
Exactly. They were not easy, quick answer speed round questions. Like they made you burn some time to think about it, and I think that is something. I don't want to say we haven't really seen, but like they were not ones that you would like immediately like, okay, 7, 8, blah blah blah. Like you had to go, okay, wait, and that was interesting to me. Overall, I thought Laura did great. Like I was very pleasantly surprised for the fact that she hasn't done any since February.
Yeah.
We were in August. It's been a long freaking time.
Yeah.
A long time. So, I mean, I thought she did great. Speed round sucked, but other than that, I thought it was a great match.
That's like one of the hardest speed rounds I think I've ever seen for Star Wars.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Which makes it fun from our end as watching. Maybe not whenever Molly ends up playing one, but
by the end, me and Alex were like, God, you guys are so slow. Jeez Louise.
Frank, what about you, man? I know you've already said some stuff online, but what did you think about this one?
No, I really enjoyed this match for the fact that it wasn't a robotic, 100% accurate match. Because I think from time to time, when you get these perfect, accurate matches, it can be somewhat robotic, in my opinion, where it's like it's still entertaining that, like, holy crap, you know all of this stuff, all these deep cuts, stuff I never even would have thought to ask about. That's still entertaining, sure, but I think what's more entertaining for me as a viewer is the humanness to miss questions, and then the humanness to hit absurd questions as well, like a couple questions later. You can miss a deep cut here, but then you can hit then you get correct answers on deeper cuts over here, and I'm just like, it's just, that to me is more entertaining when there's more chances for a comeback, or where everyone's not so perfect and robotic in a sense, which it's not, and these players aren't robotic. Laura Kelly and Andrew DeMont are not robotic by any means, but I appreciate the fact that we can start missing questions here, and it raises the stakes even more in terms of, just because you're down a couple points doesn't mean game's over, at the end of the third round. Obviously, the speed round has implications in every title match across every division, and the betting round can too as well. But I thought Laura coming out the gate, challenging that Rogue One question.
That was such a great challenge.
Great challenge.
Brilliant.
And right there, I was like, damn, she's locked in. She's really, she might do it here. And because in matches like this for Star Wars Division, you have to take advantage of winning challenges. And if you think you're right and you really believe it, as good as everyone is in this division, you probably should challenge and just take a swing at it, because you never know. And it's a big spot to go up, I think, was it 1 or 2 points on DeMont at the end of that round, right? So, and then still holding a lead, I think, going into that betting round. And obviously, the wheels kind of fell off there for her in the speed round, which is always, that's going to be the one thing, whether it's the fast money version we have in the digital matches or the buzz around matches, which, obviously we'll talk about with the teams match, but those are always have proven to be, can prove to be the great equalizer. And I think this version of the fast money that the writers put together for this, I think actually does make it possible for a comeback to happen, because in previous versions we've seen, everyone just goes 10 for 10, or they go 9 for 9 and they pass on one, and it's like, all right, that doesn't really do anything. Cool. This one really did something here, and I think the speedrun question should be more difficult, because I think the format, the way players are playing, like, we need that. And so you got to be more strategic in the speed round now, like, if you're going to pass on it or you can take a shot. Because I think Laura Kelly, I forget which question she went back to on I forget which one. But it was like, it just felt like she just answered it for the sake of answering it, just to see if she would throw it out there, not really recognizing, or at least in the moment, that you'd be docked a point if you miss it. So
I think that was the Yaddle question.
yes, the
'cause
Yaddle one, yeah.
She knows that Yaddle's only in one movie, but she said two, and I could tell like right away. She was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. So the match overall, incredible. Andrew DiMolanta, Jake picked me up another 8 points, so that was great.
You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
Well, I don't see the ranking updates anymore. Jake, what's that about?
You know what? I've become extremely busy, and that's on me. I'll put it up tomorrow. We'll see.
What do you really think I was going to come on here and not bring it up?
We'll see Frank's lead. We'll see Frank's lead, and then we'll see how Jill has closed the gap shockingly up against me, and how my team has fallen very quick. So.
I see Rashad asking in the chat about the challenge that Andrew wanted for the speed round. I don't think he would have won that challenge, because I know he was probably talking about the Stalker versus the Avenger Star Destroyer, the one that spits out the probe droids at the start of Empire. The Stalker is what it used to be in Legends, and then all the updated information on like Wikipedia and stuff has it changed to the Avenger, which is a weird thing, and like I don't blame him for wanting to bring it up for a challenge, but I don't think he would have won the challenge.
Yeah, if you stick to canon, it seems like they would have just like denied that in a heartbeat. But I will say I love the rule that you can't challenge speed round. Like I think that's like so smart that it's in there. Just leave it alone. It's over and done with. Like you did, like whatever happened happened.
I'm gonna disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah. I understand why I think it was implemented to just kind of. It's part of the fact that the league doesn't really like this version of the speed round. Let's just get through it. Let's do it. Let's get through it and on to the final round. But the other part of it is, if there is an inherent, like an obvious error, it should be corrected. It shouldn't just be like, because if you see it, we have the power to change, like to correct it. And it's, I get it. It is what it is, and that's the rule, and they followed the rule, and all right. But at the same time, and even I think even in the live chat at that point, the league was saying this is why it's going away, and it's like, well, that's kind of like a cop out like,
yeah,
we could like if it was really a wrong thing, like we could fix it. And I think if there was more of an uproar behind the scenes, and I think it was like if this was in a singles division where people actually have knowledge of this stuff, whereas I think the only people that would recognize that is Andrew and Laura in that moment, and I doubt anybody else there could weigh in on that. Because if there's more of a pushback, then I think then the league would continue to be like, all right, I hear you, all right, let's take a look at it. So, but I mean, this idea that if there's an error, oh well, I don't subscribe to that. So
that's fair.
But luckily, we won't have to deal with this that much longer, hopefully.
Which is a bummer, because I actually like the speed seed personally better than the buzzers. But
seeing the buzzers back made me remember how much I missed the buzzers.
Dude.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that buzzer, because man, was there a show for those buzzers. But Jill, you haven't said much about this match yet. I want to shoot it to you. What did you think about DiMolanta Kelly?
Yeah, I just kind of want to echo off of what Frankie said, that this, for me, this has been the first Star Wars Championship match in a while where I didn't have anxiety over how intense it was. Like, I think both Laura and Andrew were having a good time with it, like we saw both of them bleed. Like we saw Andrew miss him in round 1. We saw Laura miss her first round 2 question in forever, so, and it was like, and they had this fun banter, and it was like, it's obviously they're taking it seriously. They're Star Wars competitors. They always do. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm dying over how freaking intense this match is. It was a fun, enjoyable match. And it wasn't one of those, oh no, they missed one, that's the game. It was not that kind of a match at all. So that I really enjoyed. I also want to talk about the fact that Andrew DiMolanta lives in Orlando, Florida, and has never been to Galaxy's Edge before. That's a choice. That's a choice. But no, it was. I enjoyed this match, and I was rooting for Laura, and it's a shame that she had that rough speed round. But she'll come back fighting. I know she will. She always does. No doubt in my mind.
And to what happens in the next match that we're going to be talking about as well, more than likely, and obviously it's a decision he has to make, but more than likely, she'll probably be in the Star Wars tournament because we haven't seen her much this year. It's between her and Ace, right? You know, Ace got his chance in the first tournament. Maybe she'll get her chance in this one. There's still a decision to be made, but luckily on Winston's side, if you call luck, the fact that she lost, now that he can play her even more going forward whenever that time does come, if he chooses to do so, which is kind of the positive of coming out of these matches for a couple of these players. So
I'll say that one again. That choice for swag comes down to who's more available.
Well, yes, and I did like that Winston was kind of playing around. I was like, I might just have you guys fight it out.
I love that.
Yeah, honestly, that's what he should do.
I think he should do the same thing. Do like a 3-round mock match, and whoever wins plays in the tournament.
I agree.
Iron Man match. First person to lose is out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Brutal. That's savage.
I agree, though. 100%.
I will say the one thing I know we already said something. Laura's challenge was just incredible to me.
I haven't talked about that. That was great.
I know we already talked about it, but like that is something like someone who has been putting in the work for. Like, she was able to articulate, like, for us people that were like, what is she talking about? Like, she was like, this is, and this it's this, and this and this, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing in the movie. Like,
well, and they even had to come back after the research and say the only place it said 13 years was Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Like, that's how detailed she was to knowing that. And it seemed like, and obviously Molly's not going to reveal whether she knew or not, but it almost felt like she was the only person on the planet that knew that was the case.
It was, well, like, that honestly was like one of the best challenges I've seen in a while, where it was like she had her facts and it was like backed up. Like, she made the claim and case for herself in the challenge. Like, she gave it to them. Go check this, basically, because this is what it said. And if you're going to challenge like that, like, if I'm the other competitor, I'm just like, yeah, you might as well just give it to them, because they clearly know exactly what they're talking about. So it was impressive, really impressive to me.
All right, we're going to get into the IG match next, but we did get a super chat from Mr. Tim Sim here. So should a perfect 5-round game with buzzers must include buzzing and getting all 5 questions correct, or just not miss a buzzer question?
I think it's just not missing a question.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so the way that I keep track of that, like on a for stat purposes, is exactly that, Jill. Is if you don't miss, like, even if you don't even buzz in at all, like, I can't penalize a team for not being able to buzz in faster, because it's hard to say whether or not they would actually know the correct answer or not. So how can I make a judgment on whether or not to dock them for an incorrect answer or give them a correct answer, right? So, but there are levels to perfect games in the Schmoedown, whether you bet 3, 2, or 1, or 0 in the betting round, whether or not you answer 1, 2, 3, or 5, speed round questions. There's obviously, like, the most perfect game you could ever have is answer everything rounds 1 and 2 perfect, bet 3, hit all buzzer questions, and hit all the way to the 5, right? That's like the max pinnacle perfect game. And then there's other perfect games, but just tiers of perfect games below that as you adjust for the betting round and the buzzer round. So that's how I've kept track of it, and that's how I've always kept track of it. And even for the digital versus studio matches, where there's 10 questions for digital speed round and then 5 for buzzer round, right? You're gonna have digital records and non-digital records, and that's the only way to do it and be fair about it, because that's an additional 5 questions in digital that are not available in regular in-person studio matches. So you do have to split them up that way, and that's just how it has to be.
Frankie Numbers has spoken.
I was just about to say, Sophie said.
I would agree. All right, well, let's move on from the Star Wars match if we have nothing else. Any final thoughts?
Can't wait for the tournament.
I think that's
Can't
gonna be
wait
fun.
for the tournament. Can't wait for Thomas.
Thomas and Dimilano,
Yeah.
which is going to be.
Oh boy! Much as I wanted Laura, I wanted Laura. Thomas and Demwanta is going to be just like this,
Good
and
Lord.
I cannot wait for it.
That's
Molly's
probably
just
happening
like,
really
mhm.
soon too. That's probably happening.
Thomas is terrifying. I've known Thomas for quite some time now, and yeah, he's no joke.
All right, let's get into this IG match. So we have Saul and we have Maru Moses facing off in a #1 contender match to go on and face either Mike Kalinowski or John Drew the Chosen. And Brian called it. He made the call.
yeah!
Amaru Moses walks away with the dub
Who
in
did-
this one via.
Who did Frank pick?
Hey, Saul is on my fantasy team, so who do you think I had to pick?
But surprisingly, Amaru walks away with the TKO in this.
Not surprisingly. Not surprisingly.
That's a little
Nope.
surprisingly.
I didn't think so. I don't think it
You
was
were surprised that Saul would miss that many questions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
in a live. I thought he was going to be different live, and that's I swear to you, I was like, I don't know how Saul will do live. That's in my head. I was thinking because he's very like he like in his own bubble, but now you have an audience. You have people around you. You can't really freely be as animated and stuff. And he was for Saul, in my opinion, minus the when he grabbed the mic, like while he was playing, he was very tame
Yeah.
for me. So I don't know, but
It's tough when you're the type of character that Saul has been portraying because it leans so much on the fact of you having to be proficient and winning because it's very hard, I think, to go out there and keep up the act and then be trailing in a match. I mean, you also want to be respectful of your opponent as well, and so there's certainly been cases and matches where there's a lot of talk before the match, and then once it gets into the ring, then it's all right. We kind of like drop the act at the door, and then let's answer it, and then we'll pick up where we left off at the end of the match, potentially. So, but I wasn't too concerned with how they were going to perform in the studio matches. I was curious about it, but I wasn't too concerned about it just based on everything that I had been hearing about Amaru and how Saul is, and it certainly looked like though that in that second round it really got to Saul once he missed that first question.
I
don't
was
know
going
about
to
you, Jill.
say.
I don't know about you, Jill, but when he missed that, I mean, it almost looked like deer in the headlights. Like
Yeah,
there's something, like a different shift. You could just like feel it, just
Yeah.
like something gets sucked out of the room, and it was like, uh-oh, I think it's getting to him now because he missed a couple in the first round, and
Yeah.
Amaru, but like,
This is why we have them here, people. This is exactly why.
and like you'll feel
Yeah,
this
there
stuff
was-
too, like at live events eventually, like when these moments happen. Especially with a bigger crowd. I mean, there's only probably,
Yeah.
I don't know, 25 of us in there or something like that watching
If
the
that,
match.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but then like even with just that, the whole production, everything around you now, the lights around you, Christian's like 10 feet away from you, and you got Sam Levine in the front row, and you got Andrew Guy hooting and hollering, you got Mike Kalinowski in the crowd, who's the Intergeekdom champion. He's watching you, right?
That's
and you
true.
miss a question, and it's like boom, it's all hitting you, and you're like, crap, like. And Saul put so much pressure on himself to be perfect.
he does.
He does. He does.
And I think all of that just kind of coalesced at that moment. And I was like, I just saw him in his eyes, just like, I don't know. He just went to another place, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. I agree with you in the fact that once it's the first question, you could definitely feel a shift in the room and something was going on in his brain that just shut off, and it's unfortunate, and I know he's better than how he played that day, And Amaru proved why he was the second overall draft pick. He is an amazing IG player, and we once again proved that at Collision. But I expected a close match because I know how good Saul is. And the Planet of the Apes wheel slice for strikes again, man. That's a rough slice.
I don't know, however, and obviously we don't know all his strengths and weaknesses, but I thought that was an odd choice.
I was surprised.
That was a very odd choice.
When he got it, he immediately went, "Let's go."
Yeah, and I was like,
"Holy crap!"
I don't know what his ultimate strengths are. I don't know what he's the best at because we've only seen him a handful of times, and I don't know what he's been studying. But when he spun that and he immediately went and said yes, I was shocked that he went with, because we've seen Planet of the Apes and it's been used a lot this year. Those are going to be deeper questions than what they have been in the past, especially on this stage.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, whoa. Like the quickness to saying yes, I was like, oh, damn. Like he must really know apes to the point where like he's confident he is not going to even go to multiple choice. Like that honestly was probably one of the most surprising parts of the whole match. How instantly wasn't even a thought.
Yeah,
I'm taking it. Like,
because what else is the benefit of acting that way? It's like it doesn't affect your opponent. It's just like so. Like I thought so in the moment. I was like, damn, he must be ready for this slice if he's really because or I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to psych himself up into like that he can do it or whatever for whatever reason. It was I think I'm right there with you. When he took it like that, I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got ourselves a match. Okay.
It made me think.
were made.
It made me wonder if there was something on the wheel that he just like absolutely did not want, and he was going to take anything else. But it could have also been like a confidence, trying to boost yourself up. Like, that's no problem. I got this.
Those damn dirty apes.
And I will say some of those questions they were very well done questions.
They were. They were rough.
The first question, the Beneath the Planet of the Apes question, was such a well done question. Because you can easily, I thought it was Escape from Planet of the Apes because the way it was worded and what happens in that movie, and it tricked him. And like Frank said, from their perspective, and then on top of Amaru getting the steal, it just kind of all fell apart.
That was especially when I think because I was sitting by Andrew Guy the whole time, and we had a lot of those like lock eyes, look at each other like kind of moments. And when Rue got that steal, it was like okay, this is what's happening. And it like I said, Saul's a very good friend of the Sullivan household, and so it was hard. And Saul is one of those competitors who takes the losses very seriously. He kind of has that internalization thing of when he loses, and he took it rough, but I mean, kudos to Amaru, man. He played a freaking great game, and he's told people many times the lights do not affect him. He has done this before. This is not his first rodeo, and he proved that.
Yes. Don't worry, Melissa. I'm letting these 4 people who picked Saul say what they want about Saul, but I'm
hey, we can discuss
I'm kidding.
We're gonna get into Amaru.
I know. I was doing the shift. Screw you! God, freaking rude.
He said something. He popped in the chat. He's been waiting all day since he saw we were going to talk about it. Yes, Amaru, we did pick against you, and we apologize that we picked against you.
I don't apologize for anything. I did what I had to do, and I do it again.
But no, look on Rue's side. I mean, look, he was the number 2 overall pick in this draft this year.
Yeah.
He's had a lot to live up to. And like he said in his post interview, he wasn't just the number 2 overall pick. He was the first match out of the gate. And now he was the first match back in studio. Yeah. There's a lot of things that he has done this year that a lot of rookies would not be doing in any year of Schmoedown. And he has lived up to every single one of them. He looks to be the IG competitor that we were told about. He looks very well rounded. The fact that he took graphic novels in round 2, I was blown away.
Blew my mind.
Yeah,
blown away.
Yeah,
I looked at Sean and I went.
That's a slice that a lot of people steer away from.
Yeah,
and he went with that, and he just rolled, walked away the TKO, and now he's going on to face either Mike or Chandru, and he looks strong. He looks like one of the strongest IG competitors that we have this year going for sure.
Picking graphic novels, ladies and gentlemen, that is what us young folk like to call a flex. And that was a flex. Like he picked graphic novels, and I went, I'm sorry, what? You're picking what category?
Yeah. I went, no.
Okay.
No. I was like, no, don't pick that one. And then I was like,
all of us did the same thing. We were like, probably. If I audibly said what, then it was probably an audible what. It was probably me. Like, because we've seen it. Graphic novels is one of those slices where it's like, what is this film that I've never heard of in my entire life? This is a comic book movie. Okay, I believe you. And he confidently chose it, and he freaking fought it. Like he did great. And also, just added thing, Amaru is a peach.
I was just gonna say he brings such a good energy to everything.
Yes, he does. He does. He's one of those people when he walks in the room and you just can't help but feel a little bit better. Like you just can't help but smile. He is a lovely human being, and it was fun.
Yeah, he's a tremendous asset for the Schmoedown, for the energy.
Oh, look at God. Yeah. Christian did that on purpose. If you
of course he did.
You cannot tell me otherwise that he didn't. That
well,
man.
To be fair, he thinks we usually do this on Sundays, so maybe not.
What are we talking about?
Christian just dropped the Star Wars bracket.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I will say this: Rue is
two versions, by the way.
Two
versions.
If Harper wins and if Dimmalaka wins.
Oh.
I will say this: Rue is a cold-blooded assassin. That man did not show a lick of fear, intimidation, nothing.
I love when Saul picked up the mic and Rue was just like just
it honestly felt like the more Saul was doing was like making him more powerful. Yeah. It was just like, keep talking, just keep talking. Like, wait till we start doing this. Yeah. And that's what it felt like.
You'll find out today, sir. You'll find out today.
So this honestly, for me, I'll be completely honest. This was the match I was looking forward to the most. If I had to pick one, honest to God.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Frankie.
Don't worry, Frank. I had the same thought. I mean, I'm excited, but the last match was I was looking forward to the most.
But hey, you do you know.
I mean, hater. But no, I was real because let's be honest. Like, a lot of people picked Saul on this one. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, and Sam picked him where he did for a reason.
Yeah.
Saul has been a bulldozer since that Brandon Hanna match. Like, it's been like, get out of the way. So it could have gone both ways just by pure strengths on both sides. But I honestly was looking forward to this one the most, just because it had that for most major upset potential, and it happened, I think. So
well, speaking of quote unquote upsets, we did get a super chat from Tim Sim real quick. He said, "No lie, this was an upset in my book since I chose Saul at max confident points 4-4. I'm stunned at Amaru's performance and how the lights got to Saul."
I wouldn't call it an upset. I wouldn't, because
I wouldn't call it an upset either.
Amaru was the number 2 overall pick. Like, and
he played well, and he progressed from
I don't think that was an upset at all.
And he played a quality opponent in Moose, and Saul played against Greg Alba and John Humphrey. No disrespect, but like that wasn't like they didn't come into the Schmoedown with that expertise or that skill set for Inner Geekdom, right? Mm-hmm. Moose did. Right, Jesse Swift did. Like, they came in there for that, and Amaru played those players. And Saul, to his credit though, when he played against Greg and John, he was lights out with what was given to him and how far he could only go in those matches with them being a knockout. And so he did amazingly well for those 2 rounds he played each time in those matches. He gets to the final round here. Now it's Now it's a different situation. It's especially now that we're going to get this Brendan Hannah Solomon rematch because that's going to go to a third round.
God.
That's going to go to a third round. So
When Christian announced that, we were sitting next to Hannah and we were like, "Oh!" Did we
I know
lose
Jake is stunned as well.
I
Jake is
know
stunned.
Jake is.
Did he
Oh no.
I didn't even notice. I need to
I'm just
screenshot this.
I'm just
There we go. Let
I'm
me
gonna
just
remove him
screenshot.
real quick until he comes back.
Oh, there.
Go.
Oh, that was
Jake.
good. Sorry, Jake. I'm not laughing at your expense.
I hope
But
he didn't have another power outage.
he
Oh,
probably
no.
did. Sacramento
God.
is just gnarly right now with power
Well,
outages.
Well, let's keep the train a rolling then.
Can I just say I love I just quickly glanced at that of the Star Wars bracket. I love how literally everything changes on both. It's just like this, and then Molly and Alex are just like,
Except
nope,
for me and Alex.
you,
Yeah,
you
no,
ain't
that's
going
fine.
playing against each other. This is not changing.
Except for you now.
Yeah, Molly.
Whatever.
Are you gonna play in the same room? You gonna play in the same room?
I would love to. I haven't talked
should.
to I haven't talked to anyone about logistics, but I would love to just play on the couch.
Well, if you were,
Right.
you'd be playing in the same room. So what is digital like? Play in the same room.
Yeah, we're gonna try to because
first-
Get comfy.
like, in-person digital match. Yeah,
Get
I'm gonna
comfy.
be punching him in the arm the whole time.
oh, that'd be
Do
great.
it.
I just want to hear one time if you're in separate rooms. Missing. room.
You
So
suck. You suck.
Yeah.
I'll just let the dog in there and he'll just like completely throw him off. Put
Yeah.
the cat in there too.
Yeah,
Put like a piece of steak underneath his chair,
yeah.
and so then just like
Hey.
open the door and just yeah.
This is the season of war, so there could be
Exactly.
some, you
Exactly.
know.
I mean, if you have Kaiser as your manager, you know that there's at least a few tricks he's got ready for you to pull up
Oh, definitely.
against Alex. I mean,
definitely.
ask him to do it during Pippin's feeding time, so that way it's just constant meow, meow, and just open
That
the
would
door.
that'd be interesting.
All right,
No.
let's get back to Collision. Let's talk about the next match we have on the Collision roster, which is this was a doozy. We had Kevin Goodenough Smith versus Lady Justice Marisol McKee. We were all very much on the same page with this one. We were all like, "Oh, Marisol's got this, no problem." But Kevin had some choices when it came to challenges. But overall, I thought he played pretty well. Like, even with the Kate challenge, which in my book, I think is now one of the most ridiculous challenges I've ever seen in my entire life.
And it bit them in the ass.
It
Yeah.
did. But it was fun. I enjoyed that match. It was kind of fun seeing Kevin give Christian a new one. It's kind of
Yeah, that was.
There's
an
all that-
interesting
there's all this-
development, Yeah.
That small little piece that's thoroughly enjoying it, just a little bit,
oh, definitely.
just a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
But
For sure.
I mean, Kevin did great.
Yeah.
I mean, Marisol did what I assumed Marisol would do. Right? I don't think anyone was surprised by Marisol. Like, I mean, she did exactly what at least for me, I expected. Kevin Smith, on the other hand, way performed higher than what I was expecting.
Me too.
Like
Yeah.
beyond. I when before this match aired, thought that there could even be a TKO possibility. That could possibly be a thing. But he left me impressed. However, I think that the silliness might have costed them this game, or at least a chance to continue the game. Because I don't know what you think, Frank, but had he had that challenge, I think Christian would have redone the question.
5-pointer.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
You don't think so?
No.
So
No. I had talked to a few people this past weekend about it, and I don't even know if I talked to Christian about this actually, but it's just some other people, and I think the consensus was even if he had a challenge available for that situation, it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen.
Really? You don't think so?
No. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't like. It was pretty definitive, and I think the part here that I think we got to start.
Oh, he's back.
Trying to remember. We got Jake back.
He's back.
Hey, welcome
Are you
to
back?
the show.
So everything was working, but nothing was moving.
That doesn't sound
Weird.
So
That sounds like not working.
I was hearing everything you guys were saying.
Oh, okay.
But everything was frozen.
Weird.
So I don't know what happened, but yeah. So
Well, we kept
I
the
don't know where
ball
we are,
rolling
just
for you.
continue
I hope you're proud of us.
yeah. Say it again.
I said we kept the ball rolling. I hope you're proud of us.
Thank you.
We didn't completely
But
derail.
yeah, continue on. I was uploading the Star Wars brackets where I was, so just continue.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that at the end of the show. So go ahead.
No, I was saying about Kevin Smith and that his scary movie, and your winner. You know, wait a minute, it's gonna be 3. I think at that point it was about. If I'm Kevin Smith, let me just try and pretend like I'm Kevin Smith and here's my internal thoughts of, all right, I already lost. Let's just
Burn
twist
house
the
down.
knife. Let's just have some fun with this. Let's see what happens here. Let me throw a fit
Yeah.
just for entertainment value. And I think that's all it was. And people in the chat were like, "What the hell is this dude doing?" And then later on, we see that scene with Coy and Christian, on the phone. And then I think some people came around and were like, "Oh, right, this is what Schmoedown does." Except in this case, I think normally it's kind of built out of like a post-match interview. This happened directly in a match after the match had basically concluded. And so I personally think that's what was going on at that point. Was it, I guess you could say it's too close for comfort in terms of the ending of the match and then kind of bleed it into a kayfabe thing and storyline thing. Which I think, if that was actually by design or taking advantage of that moment like that, I think was brilliant because it really got people fired up and the chat was like incredibly upset and just like, he's a disgrace to the game, never bring him back.
I
the
loved
the game. No, it was great.
loved it.
I loved it. I'm like, the match is over. He lost. He can say whatever he wants to say right now. It doesn't
I'm
mean
sure
jack
the
squat,
same people saying that are the same people that are like, I miss storylines. It's like,
Sure.
here you go. Here's one. Like,
Yeah.
stop it. I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, like the match was over. It was done with. The decision was never going to be reversed. And from how I was watching the match, and they just decided, let's have some fun. We lost. Let's add a little more flavor to this loss and spice it up. And then we got a pretty good possible development out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't happen if we just play it straight and go, all right, I lost. Yeah, I didn't have my best stuff today. All right, well, maybe on the next one. Like, and then we have that. No, that like this is part of. It's tough to do because I mean, look, like this was more orchestrated in Chicago when Who's the Boss lost to the Odd Couple. Ben Bateman has to get smacked in the face like right after a loss. That's not fun. But
That's
you do
not
it because, yeah. I mean, it was fun for some people to watch and probably for Roxy to do. But, like, it wasn't, like an ideal situation for Ben. But, this is part of the entertainment side of it that I got to follow through. And sometimes it's orchestrated like that. And then sometimes it's a spur of the moment thing. It's improvised right there in the spot. And then you run with it. And I think that was the case here. And so, people are going to get upset, and there's always going to be people like that won't always understand or get that there's an element to this that's outside of the questions and answers. There's a little bit more to it, and a lot of people enjoy that aspect. Some don't. Some don't care, and you're going to have all those groups of people watching these matches for various reasons. Some for all of it. Some for those individual ones, and that's fine. But I personally loved it.
Me too.
I mean, it's people are still talking about it. I mean, they're not talking about like, oh, Kevin got his ass kicked, which he didn't. But
Not at all.
I mean,
No.
he looked good, but like, it makes people want to see Kevin Smith a little bit more. On top of the fact that he is just Kevin Smith. Like, now people still want, they're like, you have those people that are like, he was robbed. Like, he needs another match. Like, you're drawing the allure of more Kevin Smith. So, I mean, it's a smart move.
I mean,
I'm
don't
pissed
you
at
want
him.
someone like Kevin Smith playing into that side of the Schmoedown? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
having fun with that? So,
The
like, that's a
nicest
win.
guy be like kind of like a jerk about it. Like, of course.
Love it.
I don't see
Love it.
He's kind of heely a little bit right
Right.
now.
Love
So-
it. Love it.
I'm a little mad at him just because I missed fantasy points with him, but that's just my opinion. So, we
Who
did
were
get
you
a couple.
playing in that one?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about
Oh, it was Jill. That's right. 'cause Marisol.
yeah, whatever. We did get one from Tim Tim. I'm guessing this is what we were talking about at the moment. Kevin's challenges and his antics surrounding them got some people angry at him, even some of his longtime fans.
I have
No, that's-
thoughts.
Well, that's fans for you.
I have thoughts on that. So, what would you rather someone do? Do some antics like what he did, or have someone get generally pissed because they're not drafted onto the faction they want and they threaten to not play again? Which antics would you rather have?
Right.
I mean, facts.
That's what we call
Jill,
big baby.
Jill's
syndrome.
coming in hot right now.
Molly,
I would-
cue
I
the
would
fan.
I'd bust out my teacup.
Oh,
right
no,
now,
where's
but
my
it is
fan?
$10. Just saying, which antics would you prefer? Like,
Another one here from Christian Hardesty. If Kevin answers Kate Blanchett, they would have been tied going into round 3, and the Gene Wilder mishap could be a different discussion altogether.
I couldn't believe that Gene Wilder thing. I was like,
I was
what?
blown away. And I love the way he played it too. Like, Christian went to him first and he goes, okay. And just like put the card up with his hand over it. And
Yeah.
just totally
Yeah.
played into it. It was great. It was great.
Another just the first name, huh? Yeah.
And the next one here from Tim Sim. Marisol will be the first woman since Clark Wolf in 2018 to challenge for the singles belt. Thoughts? I mean, I think it's something we all predicted. As great as we think Kevin Smith is, and he put up one hell of a fight, I think we all expected Marisol to be here at this point. She is arguably playing the best this year outside of Dimolanta. And so it's no surprise that she's here at this point right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal, really. You know, it's just it's just another person playing in a title match. I don't get it.
Screw you, Frankie.
People play title matches all the time. Like, no, it's obviously a pretty big deal. It's obviously a pretty big deal. It's pretty exciting, and especially for a player who's only been in, like a season and a half. So
She was drafted last year but didn't play until the tournament, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Correct.
she played Paul Oyama. So
That's
she
right.
played Bonnie actually first before the tournament.
In that match, that's right.
Yeah.
That match is still one of my favorite matches.
Right. And then she played Paul Oyama, and it was a tough match. Paul played perfect, but so Marisol got a taste of what it takes to play at the top, and now we see her on this run right now, coming out of this match, right, and facing either Merle or Ethan, which both are just playing incredibly well, just as well as her, and Marisol playing in a title match, first woman since Clark Wolf. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think it's exciting, and I think also what's really fun about it is the community is really behind Marisol. Has been from like the jump, because she just had like that quality. Like you just even though like her debut she was still kind of like quiet and reserved a little bit, and she was still like in her feet wet. You just kind of knew like the more and more she gets into it, the more and more she's going to elevate her status in the league. And so it's fun to see that rise, and now it's kind of starting with this title match, and it's going to be fun to watch, and we could possibly see history in the form of our first women champion in the singles division. So that could be really special.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna say, I just remember not that long ago, people being like, "Kate is so stupid for her trade. so Corruption could get Marisol and and it's like she's one step away from holding a belt.
Mhm.
It's I'm excited because I mean I wouldn't want to go up against her, not when she's playing her best.
Mm-mm.
So we'll see.
Marisol's a very tactful player, and knows what she wants to do, and knows when to, I think, take a shot or a risk or spin away from it. And she's always learning from her, not just her losses but her wins, and that makes her a very dangerous player going forward because she's never resting on her laurels, and she's got a great faction behind her in terms of prep, and not only just prep, but like pedigree. People have actually accomplished winning championships and playing for championships and winning tournaments. So she's got a lot in her favor, but I think whoever she faces, they also have a lot of pedigree and great support systems. And so it's going to be a pretty incredible match, whoever she ends up playing, I mean, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think she has a great chance against either Irwin or Merle,
Me
the way that
too.
she's playing. I think she is so strong in so many different divisions, or so many different categories, I guess I could say.
The speed round always worries me about a first-time player
I
in a
would
championship
agree.
match.
Yeah.
I would agree.
The fact that she's not going to have kind of like a warm-up with like a tournament final, like you might have. She's going into this as cold as you can go, and she's going to go up against players who have done this numerous times. So she's at a disadvantage in that sense. Not her knowledge, but how. And plus, I don't think we know if it'll be digital, if it'll be in person. They're figuring that out, and I think it depends on who wins more so between Dan and Ethan. So
Yeah, because you got to fly out Ethan from Toledo.
right,
Toledo.
Yeah. So,
Since I just want to make sure I wasn't here for half of it. Did we talk about Smith Marisol enough? Did we cover it? Or...
Yes. We pretty much covered it.
I think we should go back to the Cape Blanchett thing. I really think we need a hammer.
Hammer that in.
Also, wait, actually, I do want to say one thing. Coy's argument of, like, is there any other Kate? When he
That
said
was
that, I
valid.
was like, damn. That's actually pretty good. That's actually,
That was
that's
valid.
not bad. I'm not going to buy it, but that's not bad. It's a valiant effort. Like,
I will say that there was like a 1 to 2 second range where I was like, well, maybe. No. This is
I know.
Right.
I was like, he's not wrong.
yeah.
And numerous Google searches and screenshots of those Google searches have proved him right.
There's been so many screenshots in the Facebook group, on Twitter. Everyone is looking for a reason to one way or the other.
Yeah,
I will
rules
say
are-
those quirky Merc fans, they will ride for whatever any of those Mercs say, especially Coy.
I mean, I was fighting for it. Because I have Smith in fantasy too, so it was double whammy.
Of course
Oh,
you do.
God. Yeah.
Well,
There's
then work out
no
my favorite
way.
game, Jill.
There's no way in hell anyone could win a challenge like that. When you just give a first name,
Yeah, it's a done deal. Like,
There's just something though with Coy, like where you for like a second you're like, well, no. This
Yeah.
is stupid. No. Like,
it's like that one meme where she's like, well,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
All right. Well, with that, let's get to the big one because this was for probably 4 of the 5 of us here, the match of the night, the one that we were looking forward to the
Yeah.
most. And this was the teams match between Shazam and Corruption. Shazam defending their
Great timing.
belts up against Mike Kalinowski and Chance Ellison in studio. So we got the whole experience. Although, and back to what I think Jill and Frank were talking about earlier, not a Shazam entrance outside of some small confetti.
I
I
loved
love
the
that.
confetti so
I
much.
did too. I did
When he did it over to Chance, and then Chance just had confetti on him for the rest of the match, I was like, yes.
that was great because what have we all been talking about for the last year and a half? We can't
Shazam
wait for
entrance.
Shazam entrance, and then Bibbs just goes. And that's it. We're like, oh, okay.
I loved Brendan wiping it off Kalinowski. He was like, oh, let me just get that off.
Freaking Canadian.
He pulled
real quick-
he pulled a Ryan Johnson and subverted all our expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, Devil Triggered. That's because it's public. It's on the Schmoedown YouTube channel. The movie.
I mean, it's
Trivia
also
Schmoedown
probably
YouTube
should be posted. Like the link's probably also in Patreon somewhere. I would think.
Yeah, so it's
I haven't checked
out
the
there
page.
for everybody. So
You,
go ahead. And check
if
that
you
out.
do go search, I don't know if it's in the playlist yet. I don't think they added it to it. But if you go to like videos, you have to go to the drop down and look at live streams. It'll be in there. It won't be in like the video section. So I think that's where some people are getting confused.
Got it. Well, there you go. There you go. All right, let's talk about this because Shazam is coming in, and this is the second time that they face each other. They're coming in and defending their belts, trying to keep those belts and kind of solidify their legacy at this point as one of the greater teams that we've seen in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. And Corruption is coming in to try and reclaim those belts and return as team champions. And my God, did it live up to what we all expected. I'll fast forward a little bit. After the second round, Shazam had a 9-point lead. 9-point lead after the second
usual.
round, which is very different when you have these two caliber of teams. But then because of Mike Kalinowski, Chance Ellison, the way they fight, the speed round specifically, we end the fifth round in a tie ball game when we go to overtime. And then it's just every man for himself. And it ends on a question that only one person got right.
Yeah.
Only one person got right, which is like almost the fitting way for this
Absolutely.
match to end. And interesting enough, it ended on a sports question for William Bibiani.
Right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
very strange. Very strange. But yeah, Shazam, they keep their belts. And I want to say this because I wasn't able to watch it live. I watched the first match live and I was able to watch. I just finished it today. So I actually watched this match in full today. I want to give the biggest respect to Mike and Chance. These two are as much crap as they get from a lot of people because they're easy to hate being on Corruption, being the bad guys. They are so respectable when it comes to the play of the game. The way that they all hugged at the end of the match, the way that Shannon and McCoy embraced each other, just everything about it was so right. And they're one of the greatest teams that's ever done it. I mean, they've been together for so long. I believe they're the only Anarchy team left, if I'm not mistaken.
They were not an Anarchy. Or were they? No, they weren't an Anarchy team.
Were
Yes,
they not
they
an
were.
Anarchy team?
They were
That's
just
right.
after. Because Bibbs was teamed up with Matt Nost during Anarchy for the Cinemaniacs.
No,
you're talking about Corruption. Oh, yeah,
Corruption. Right?
Corruption.
They're the only
Corruption.
They're the only
Yeah.
Anarchy team left, and for them to be that good this long, everyone should be giving them praise, not hate, because they absolutely crush it. But Shazam, on the other hand, I mean, my God, these guys are ridiculous. So floor is open to anybody.
I loved the hug at the end where everyone's hugging and then Coy just comes in. He's like at the very end, like, me too.
Yay.
But dude, that match was insane. I'll be first to admit it. I was like, damn, they're done quick. Like Corruption was out of this fast. And then they kept building. And then they kept building. And it was like, holy crap, is this mathematically like possible? Oh my God, it is. Overtime. And to like Jake said, I love the fact that 3 of them missed the final and 1 got it right versus 3 getting it right and the 1 missing, because you can't just blame it on that one person for not knowing now, because everyone now basically flubbed and that one person got it. So you're talking about the one person that got it and not the one that missed it. And that doesn't happen very often. It doesn't. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
I don't even
Hey,
know.
Brad.
I don't even know who this person is.
Hi. He's probably on a boat somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Brad.
On a boat.
In a suit.
We got beef. Of course, we got beef. We got a lot of beef. We have a whole butcher.
Oh, butcher of beef.
When don't we have beef? That's the only way.
Exactly.
Like our show, literally runs off of beef. Like
We
But yeah, I mean, look, this match was so Shazam goes perfect, Chance goes perfect, Mike misses the 1. So it's already off to a hot start, and then we go to the second round. Third round, everyone gets it. Speed round, is what we can kind of get into next, because this was like the highlight of this match. Outside of the way it ended, this was the way that it kind of just. Brendan gets the first question, and then it's a chance sweep from there. It is just a full-blown sweep, like within half a second of everything, like buzzer answer for 4 straight questions. I haven't seen someone answer buzzer questions like that since we saw Brendan do it at Spectacular 2 years ago when they were in the title match. And obviously,
I will say, as far back as even Jeremy Johns when he played Hector Navarro, he was lights out on the speed round. So it reminded me of that, but also, with Brendan as well,
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, but this made me miss buzzers so much.
Yes.
And this is what I love about this round, because you're going up against everybody. It's not everyone gets a chance at a question or an answer. You alone have a chance of getting 1 point for your team, or in singles case for yourself. And it's whoever's best. And also you have to answer within 2 seconds. That's a whole other part of the game as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Chance was going so fast, I didn't even realize until like the after that he was the one that said all 4 of those. I was like, wait a minute. That was all one person that answered most of those. It was incredible.
It was very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match was freaking insane.
What I was going to say is regarding like the first 2 rounds between this, I had been talking about it for weeks leading up to this match, that the way Shazam plays the first 2 rounds and the way Corruption can potentially play, but mostly how they've been playing these first 2 rounds, I was like, we could certainly see a repeat of what happened the first time they played in those first 2 rounds. And I even said it, Brian, you didn't know, you're not going to know this part because you didn't watch the pre-show, like the numbers part. But in that segment, I talked about how Mike has not answered in the teams match for Corruption. He has not answered more than 6 questions in the first round.
Oh, I did hear that.
6 straight matches. No, you didn't. And 6 straight
I
matches.
think Tim Sims said it somewhere. I think that's where I heard it.
Okay, all right. Yeah. And so he did it again. He put up 6 points in this first round again, which is kind of like a mind-blowing stat, that because he has had better rounds. He has had perfect first rounds in the past, but for whatever reason, now this would make it 7 straight matches where he has not been able to hit 7 or more points. And then, like their Inner Geekdom slice. Like, what the hell happened there? That was very surprising.
I was sitting next to Andrew Guy for this whole match, and I can't tell you how many times we looked at each other and went, "That's game. That's game."
Yeah.
Tim, I was kidding.
Like the fact that in my opinion, the current IG champion #1,
Yes.
and then also in my opinion one of the best IG competitors we have in this league, in Mike and Chance, that they missed an IG question and then Bibbs gets the steal on it.
Yeah.
They
missed 2 questions.
I felt like the Devour one was almost like
That was a brain fart.
Yes.
There's
Had to have
no
been.
way.
Yeah.
Mike knows that 9 out of 10 times, except for a brain fart. There's no way that I believe Mike didn't know that. It absolutely was a brain fart. There's no way.
My favorite thing to come out of all that, though, is Chandru's tweet.
And I was just going to bring it up. Chandru are going at it on Twitter.
They are.
If you guys are interested, they are already going at it. They play in 2 weeks. Mike and Chandru, but it's
next
Chandru
Saturday.
and Shannon going at it.
They play. They play.
Oh, is it next week?
The 14th.
Next Saturday, the 14th.
Not this one, the next one.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're interested, the second Chandru saw it, like Molly said, he went straight for the heart. Just
Dude.
Yeah.
I would turn those notifications on for Chandru and Mike, because let me tell you, it is going to be some of the most.
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad.
Don't forget to add Shannon in there too.
Yeah. And Winston. Yeah.
Dirty.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah. Bring it.
I did want to bring up back to the second round with the IG slice. I was intrigued when they chose the slice. First of all, that they took a little bit to decide the slice.
Yeah.
They kind of contemplated it. but also it was an Inner Geek to mixed bag slice. It wasn't just IG. It was mixed bag.
Sure.
And so that leaves a little bit room to play in stuff that hasn't been touched or movies that are very obscure in the actual division, which might have played into it, or maybe a question here and there. But either way, you're right. I think Mike struggling in IG, even Chance, because Chance, like, he won the IG tournament last year.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little bit of a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I was like, oh, man. If they can't sweep this category and kind of, like, stop some of the bleeding from the first round, I was like, Shazam's going to do it again. Like, Shazam's being allowed to play their game, which is gain a huge-ass lead and then be able to kind of work with it and not worry about what the other team's doing. And for the most part, that's pretty much what happened. And that's like how Shazam, has won, their previous 10 matches, is jumping out to big leads. I mean, they've never trailed after the first 2 rounds or the first round. So this was no different again in a title match against a really good team, a really great team in Corruption, who's been in many different situations against many different great teams. And they get a golden opportunity with the IG slice, and they squandered it. And that could have, I'm not sure it would have ultimately won them the match, but like it affects everything else from there on out.
Agreed.
Yep. Yeah. Match was pure insanity, and that match reminded me of how much I missed the buzzers, of how much I missed live events. It was like the perfect amount of craziness to be like, oh yeah, this is what we've missed the past year and a half. Like, we got overtime, we got drama, we got shock. Like, it was the perfect match. It was.
Let me ask you, Jill and Frank, could you just like hear a pin drop through that?
Yeah.
Like,
I had to stand up, like, because I couldn't sit down anymore. I had to stand up. Like, there was a point where, like, when they missed their 2-point steal, and I was like, that's the game. They can't come back from this. And then, of course, it's like, well, no, I know how Chance does in the speed round, and it's the buzzers again. And, of course, they come back, and it's this back and forth. And then for the, like it was equal parts. Everyone was losing their minds. And then when the questions were being asked, everything was on pins and needles, because we were just, it was, like I said, I literally had to stand up. Take it.
You could tell that it felt different, and this is nothing against that match, but it felt different from Saul and Amaru's match.
Mm-hmm.
It just vibe watching it from the screen, like you could tell that everyone in the audience was completely hooked in, just paying attention to everything that was happening. That it was a super serious match. Not that the other one wasn't, but that this was just like on another level. And it's the reason why it was the final match of the day for sure.
Yeah. And then even for the overtime match, like the overtime question, the movie release date question, all of us collectively in the crowd went, Pibbs is gonna get this wrong. It's gonna be Corruption that's gonna win it. And then they all get it right, and we lose our minds. Yeah. And then it's the animated film with the Cars 3. All of us go, Mike is gonna.
That was crazy. I thought someone was gonna miss that question. Someone was gonna miss that question.
Yeah.
Brendan has said that he's never seen Cars 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Also, he had a really just an incredible pool. I asked him about this on Saturday, the Miranda Otto question, what lies beneath. That pool, when he got it, just straight up, no multiple choice, I turned over to Ben and he was just like, "What the hell? Like, how do you know that? How do you get that?" And Brendan, he actually has to give credit to Griffin Newman and his Blank Check podcast. They did an episode on What Lies Beneath, and it made him go watch the movie. Or I think you even heard just on the podcast.
Well, no, Leo, to your point, Frank, Leo said this. He watched it 9 days before taping.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those crazy things because look, if they have to check the multiple choice, they probably get it, but then they lose in regulation because they needed that point. So you can go to every type of scenario, but like that's one of those crazy pools that allows them to win or to get to sudden death and ultimately win it. But like that Miranda Otto question, there's a very short list for like pools of the year. Like that's probably near the top. I don't know what the list is offhand, but I mean, everyone in that crowd was just like, how do you know that? And then, then like in the moment, it's just mind blowing because it's like, holy hell, they really are as good as they've been this entire time. Like they're legit, like the greatest team of all time. And it's pools like that solidify that and cement that status. And it's all because, and I was talking about with Brendan the other day, talking about this question again, and it's like, or maybe even said on the rundown as well. There's studying movie trivia, and then there's watching movies because you love movies. And he got that answer right because he loves watching movies. He watched the movie, you know, and so it's just there's a litany of ways to prepare for the Schmoedown other than perusing Wikipedia and IMDb. It's
or
watch the movie.
Wikipedia, a-hole.
Yeah, or Wikipedia.
Real quick, before I do have a question that's that Frank just brought up. I'm going to ask a question to the panel here, but I want to give you a couple super chats here. Tim Sim, first off, I was in a main event promo that Nerd Chronic did. I'm now real.
Yeah, you were.
So proceeds to Fanboy Explicit now. Yes, congratulations, Tim. That was awesome. That was really, really cool.
It's like a Star Wars competitor. It's like you've made it when Brian Ward makes you do a poster. When you're an after show, you've made it when you're on a
poster for Laura Kelly. As she's like Rey with like,
yeah,
man, so good. That was
ridiculous.
Her tweet today to him: "If you ever stop doing this, I'm throwing all my electronics in Lake Michigan."
That's great.
Next one's from Theral. Kevin Smith's birthday today. Coco does.
Oh, I get it. Ding, ding, ding.
I get it. And then we had a couple more here from next one from Theral. Someone typed Jill is Sean's wife. Blame Frank.
Is Makuga in the chat? We are not. Like Makuga always says that we're married and we're not. We're not even engaged. Talk to Sean Sullivan about that one.
What am I being blamed for? I don't.
You're blamed for #blame
because you're Frank.
No, it's hashtag WTF Frank.
What the Frank?
What Frank? And then this leads into my question that I had actually. I was going to ask you, everyone, is Shazam top 3 team of all time, included with Shire Wolves and Patriots?
Yes.
Easily.
Yeah.
But where do they rank in that top 3 for you? Because Tim Sim does ask here, Shazam or Patriots for best team of all time? And then Coy's manager of the year chances as well. So, thoughts?
I can go.
Yeah, go Frankie.
Yeah, we're waiting for you. we want to pick off of what you say.
Okay,
right.
I see. No, that's smart. No, that's like the smartest thing you said all show.
Drink your damn Baja Blast and shut
it's over. It's done. I'm so addicted to this stuff. I want to. Okay. Anyway, so Shazam to me, and I love the Shire Wolves. Like Shire Wolves, I've been making that drum since they retired. That they're the greatest team of all time. And Shazam is now the greatest team of all time, in my opinion. Christian doesn't think so, and that's fine. Even after this win, I talked to him at the cantina, and he's like, "You're out of your mind." I was like, "I'm not out of my mind. I'm just smarter than you. I've already gotten to the point where you're eventually going to get Christian. Believe me." Well, with that said, I just need Shazam to keep on winning, which is, tough. Not as stressful for me, but very stressful for them. They are the greatest team of all time. I mean, yeah, sure, they only have one defense, but they are a 2-time teams champion, right? They've put up the first ever perfect match, even if it was a digital match, the first team to ever do that in a title match setting, digital or otherwise, sure. Their numbers are through the roof. They're at the top of every category in the team's division. They have multiple perfect first rounds as a team, as well as individually when they're not both, hitting 9 points. Their accuracy rates through the roof. I mean, they continue to blow out these teams in the first 2 rounds. And if it wasn't for the buzzer round set up, no one could ever catch up to them, And sure, like they miss a 5, but I think the grit of a championship team is to withstand a miss in a big spot and still gut it out and win it in sudden death. And they check all these boxes for what makes a great team, and they've won a couple championships. They defended it once in a live setting against a 2-time team champion. To me, they are the greatest team of all time, and they've played very tough competition. Not to say that Shire Wolves didn't, but I think at this point, Shazam has played more tough teams than the Shire Wolves were able to play during their time. So it's it's a pretty easy argument for me. Other people will feel differently because Patriots have 6 title defenses, and I get that. And that's a hell of a feat. But like they never should have gotten past Trek, if you ask me. So and look, to be a great team, you also got to capitalize on breaks as well. And Patriots did that time and time again, and that makes them one of the scrappiest, greatest teams of all time. But right now, to me, the greatest team of all time, right now, is Shazam.
I would completely agree with that. I do think Shazam is the best, and I love the Shire Wolves as well. I think this is a great way of putting it, too, from Linus. Shazam is the best team. Patriots had the best run.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really good way of putting it. But I do think the top 3 in conversation are Shire Wolves, Patriots, and Shazam.
Oh,
Probably a combination of those 3. Molly,
Yeah.
Jill, Brian?
I agree.
I think that's. I think I agree with everything that's been said so far. The Shire Wolves, I think, might have a bigger fan base of them as a team.
Bigger impact, I think the Shire Wolves have.
Yeah. But you can't deny Shazam being up there in the running for best team.
I mean, they're 11-2.
Yeah.
11-2.
Right.
Yeah,
And they haven't even been a team for that long. Like
No.
that's what's crazy about it.
And if I'm not mistaken, both their losses have come in championship matches, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also had a couple in Founding Fathers.
That's
This is
so
their first
when they got
defense.
together, they won until they lost at Spectacular, and then they lost the titles to Odd Couple. Like, wow.
Yeah, and then they replay Odd Couple and they pitch a perfect game.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered if Andrika was there or not. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, I mean, I can throw out a list of stats which Christian hates, but I'm like, dude,
That's
like,
your job.
am I just supposed to ignore this? And
It's your
because like if
job.
the only thing you want to look at is title defenses and title wins, all right, that's a very, very narrow view of how you determine who's the greatest team of all time. I think there's more to that, in my opinion. But if like all you want to cite is championships, cool, that's cool. But like, my Chicago Bulls, the Jordan Bulls, like, yeah, they won 6 championships, but but people will also cite their numbers and how dominant they were. That's what makes them one of the best teams, one of the greatest teams of all time, like the '96 Bulls. It's like, yeah, they
They're
won
your
the championship.
Chicago Bulls? I thought
That's
they were
right.
I thought they were Peggy's Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, well, she gets them on the weekends every
Oh, okay.
weekend. So,
We have joint custody.
yeah, we do. But so it's like, then what good are stats? Are those numbers like in determining if you're gonna have this argument of the greatest team of all time? You have to factor that into somewhere, I would think, in a logical sense. But again, if all you want to do, and I'll say this to Christian, I've said it to Christian, like, I get it. You like to look at championships and title wins, cool. So do I. But then I take it a step further because many teams have now been multiple champions and have defended at least once. They're in the same class. But then I go, well, how am I going to start separating these teams? Okay, who they played, how have they played, and that's my method for determining it. Peggy, you can have the Bears because that front office is woof. But I love the Bears as well. But they got I have hope. I have hope for them. But I mean, we just got Lonzo Ball today, so
You also got Caruso.
yeah, so I mean, we're pretty good. We got Levine and Vucevic, and so anyway. But like greatest team of all time, Shazam.
Anyway, Schmoedown.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on Shazam corruption before we get to these tournaments real quick?
I'm very curious to see who's Shazam's next match is.
Me too.
I believe it's the winner of Final Exam Lightning Time, correct?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Oh,
those are 2
Yeah.
really good teams that
Yeah.
that I'm very excited. Either way, like, you're gonna get a really good match. Ethan and Liz would be the way they're playing right now would be scary good.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun time.
But if Lon's on an A game with Paul, it's kind of the same.
Look,
It's like
I think Lightning Time, Final Exam, and Corruption, they're all very similar types of teams. in terms of their makeup and like how they play, because there's an A player and there's a B player, and their B players are kind of inconsistent. They can play great. That's what makes them great teams, and that's why they've been winning. But they can kind of be okay, especially like in those first rounds. Liz, she hasn't had a perfect first round in teams. She consistently scores like 5 points in the first round, right? Lon Harris, he's up and down. You don't know. You don't know that guy.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Corruption with Mike. He can play great, but he hasn't. He just can't get over 6 points in the first round. And when you play a team like Shazam, that just puts up double perfect, first rounds between Bibbs and Brendan. Like, you find yourself in a hole real quick, a 4-point deficit going into the second round. And so, not to say that Lightning Time or Final Exam could not beat Shazam. That can certainly happen. Obviously, there's history between Final Exam and Shazam that does not favor Final Exam. And if Ethan Irwin continues to play the way he's been playing, that's gonna be one hell of, that's gonna look like Lightning Time versus Shazam would probably look like Shazam versus Corruption. And we know what Shazam Final Exam looks like, but I think Lightning Time versus Shazam will look like what we just saw here at Collision. Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then real quick on Tim's second half, Coy's chances at Manager of the Year.
Really good.
At this point, high. Yeah. If it
he's got so Dimalanta has
right
two title defenses.
Yeah.
Shazam has one. And if they keep winning, that's kind of a lock in my opinion. Even if they don't win the faction race, I think if they defend that many titles over the year.
He also drafted Josh Horowitz, who's like
that
maniac.
Is very true.
That is where you're like, because I've been sitting here going, well, I mean, he's really only had Dimalanta and Shazam. Like, he does have the whole rest of the team, but then you remember that, and that's what for me might send it over the edge, because that man is. Oh, hi, Thomas. That man is something else.
For sure.
And if they go on deep runs, like, it's gonna be scary. I mean, like, they have like 3 legit options in that 4. Well, I mean, they have like all 4 of their options are really legit. I mean, even Perry going against Ben, like she's a lot better. And she knocked out Mike in the first round. Like, Bateman could easily fall suspect to that. And Josh Horowitz, we saw he played against Jen Kemp. Like, even though it wasn't like the best game he ever played, he still was able to beat someone like Jen Kemp, who's also been playing really well.
And Jen's a lot better than I was expecting her to be.
Yeah. She won our Harry Potter trivia.
She did.
She's a really underrated player, and it's finally kind of broken through a little bit this year with Free For All and how she's been playing her other matches. So, really happy to see her success, despite the wins not being there. But then, again, Brendan and Bibbs in the tournament, like, it's going to be, like, they're set up. They're set up.
Yeah. All right, let's shift gears here a little bit, and this one comes from Ed, the great Ed Haskell here. Hey, gang, Christian just posted the Star Wars tourney. 2 different brackets and matchups. 1 if Harper beats Dimalanta, and 2 option if Harper loses. I like how you said if Harper wins and Harper loses, rather than if Harper wins and Dimalanta wins. Great. Nice, Ed. Nice. That must be just because Thomas is in the chat. But either way, let's get to this. So I'll go with the first one here. This one includes Andrew Dimalanta. So this is what it looks like if Andrew Dimalanta were to lose his upcoming match to Thomas Harper. So we have the Damon Battle Royale on the top left. And they are on the same side of the bracket as Joseph Scrimshaw, who will be making his debut for Corruption this year. And Nikki Dimalanta is confirmed for the Suspects as their Star Wars representative. And then again, if Andrew loses up against Thomas, he'll be playing Ross, who will be their representative. Thomas has the belt. And then Laura and Gold Leader will be facing each other in the bottom half. And then on the flip side, if Dimalanta were to win, this is what it looks like. Laura versus Eric Whiteley on the bottom, replacing Andrew Dimalanta. And then you have Thomas and oh my God. Thomas and Scrimshaw playing each other. And Nikki and Gold Leader playing each other.
This is cruel. This is cruel
Yeah,
and unusual
so
punishment.
Cruel. Yeah.
This is
so
oh my
wrong.
god!
Okay,
Like,
First
it
off-
hurts my brain.
I am salty. Well, actually, to be honest, I don't
The
think
fact that Scrimshaw and Harper together, that's not
Oh.
fair. It's not fair.
I'm
What is
salty that on this one. Let's see. This one, we couldn't have both the couples on one side of the bracket.
Right?
That's
Right.
what
I
I
have
would
to
have.
play Alex.
Yeah, why can't
Nikki
Andrew
has-
play
should have to
Nikki?
play-
Why can't Andrew
Yeah.
play Nikki?
Why couldn't we have Andrew play Nikki, Alex play Molly, winner plays the other spouse of the other person?
Yeah.
I demand a redraft. I demand a
It would've been
redraft.
perfect.
This is insane.
Ah, darn. But
You
either
can't roll
way,
dice one
Facts,
way and
man.
have the other
Facts.
couple not play each other. You gotta. That's not okay. Come on.
The
Choices
only
were made.
issue that I have with this bracket is that this is where the brackets start. like there's not like other rounds before this where we could get to this point, because that'd be fun. Because I would like to see all these people get some wins and build it up, but like we have to start like literally on the finish line, and it's all clogged. Everyone's step in step, and it's just God, like
Like,
Can
there's
you
a chance
imagine?
we only
Ridiculous.
see Joseph once this year. Like, there's a
Yeah.
chance we only see him once.
Can you just for 1 second? I know this was so long ago and it got shut down really early. Can you imagine if this tournament would have actually been the 16? that
Yeah.
it originally-
Exactly. That's what
Oh.
I was gonna say. Like,
You? Just
I-
look at the 8 that we have right now. Add another 8 to it. I don't.
I
Think
want to
we'd
see it
survive.
happen next year. I want to see it happen next year. I really.
There will be
do.
enough players next year for sure to be a 16 tournament for sure.
Oh
There will
God.
definitely be more at it. But yeah, this is cruel. And there's also a lot of players who were even left off the list.
yeah.
Mentioned Ace Cabrera was nowhere to be found
Yeah.
on either side. Sean Sullivan was nowhere to be found. Hard decisions had to be made, obviously. But yeah, this is
No Marie.
no Marie. That's
Yeah.
and no Marie, and again, kind of going to the
Two
Ace
Dragon
thing.
Con players. I mean, they had their shot in the other tournament, sure.
Yeah, and it's like the Ace factor, right?
Yeah.
Marie played the first one. She kind of played at the beginning of the year. Now Nikki's kind of taking over the back half of the year. But after the way Nikki played last week, that's a pretty safe
Yeah.
bet.
We talked about that Hoey Nikki match and the way that she played. I'm not surprised at all that she's in the tournament.
Thomas,
Yeah.
now you're just out of control.
The question writers would quit.
Jill's face. I'm gonna go back and screenshot that or get it or something. But Jill's face to that.
Because like I both love it, and it's also like, oh God, that just sounds like torture.
Okay.
Like,
I
Brian
think we
Ward-
should have a Star Wars free for all at Celebration.
Yeah,
I
Brian
think
Ward
so,
just it's just I would love to have like an actual all day tournament.
Yeah.
Like where you're playing 3 matches in one day, it's tournament. Like the Karate Kid, you know? It's just
Yeah. Hell yeah. The
we
All-Valley
need
tournament,
that to
baby.
happen. We need that to happen.
The
Whether
All-Valley
it's Star
tournament
Wars
in Star
singles,
Wars.
any other like just a tournament event. Oh man. I
The
would
question writers are currently writing their letters of resignation.
right, we're like,
at the idea of that prospect, yeah, I don't blame them.
Oh my God.
Man, that would be that. I think that's gonna be like the next evolution of a live event is an actual tournament day,
Yeah.
tournament
Yeah.
event, right? I mean, if we do
100%,
like
100%.
look, that'd be a long day. You might have to actually run 2 matches at the same time to do it, get it all done in one day.
pick a match to go.
Yeah, or it could be a 2-day event, which would be freaking insane. You know, you could do one side of the bracket and then
No way, man. You
whatever.
just keep going till you lose. You just keep going.
Molly's
Yeah, I
sitting
mean-
here going, "Shut up! Shut up!"
I mean,
I'm sure Christian's writing notes right now.
Oh,
I'm
God.
gonna tell him. Dude.
might
Uh,
as well do it all at once, all in one go. Like, why not?
Yeah,
Just make the Star Wars division like you do it twice a year, 2 big tournaments, the beginning and the end, and all these competitors get to study for those 2 big tournaments, and that's all you have, and it's just
God,
chaos.
I want it to happen now. Oh man, that'd be
All right,
so
so
cool.
I'm not going to ask everyone's final, but I'm going to ask everyone's favorite match they're looking forward to in the first round. I'll start
Other
with this
than
round.
Alex and Molly.
Other than Alex and Molly.
That's
Other
what
than
I'm
Alex
most looking
and
forward to.
what other match are you looking forward to on this bracket?
Joseph and Nikki.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
Laura and Gold Leader.
Okay, that's
Laura and
on the
Gold
list,
Leader is
Jill.
mine.
Ask for one.
Laura and Gold Leader is definitely my pick.
Yes, I agree with you, Molly. The
Yeah,
amount of
yeah.
crap that those two are going to talk to each
Yeah.
other would be fantastic.
I'm actually pretty curious about if it were to happen, Diamante and Ross. That one is very interesting to me because while Ross has only played a little bit in the FCL, he's still kind of more of an unknown quantity.
Ross
And
is good.
He is very impressive, and that is not for like Andrew being a former champion at that point to have to play. I mean, everyone is obviously just kind of screwed, whoever they have to play in the first round. But like that one is that's tough, and especially with the way Thomas Harper talks him up. And I know Brad is. I've talked to Brad about Ross, and very impressive. So that's. But yeah, I do agree. The Laura Kelly Gold Leader that's like primetime television. That's money. That is so money. That should be on
especially
both versions of the bracket. I don't care. I mean,
With how smug Gold Leader is, I cannot wait to see how Laura reacts to that.
Yeah.
yes. I need it. No. But that means Andrew would lose? No, I can't have that.
Yes. Yes, Harper, I believe in you. All right, next one. We'll go ahead and wrap up the show with this one because this is also a big one that was announced earlier today. The IG tournament bracket with a couple surprises in there, obviously because of things that have shifted over the last couple days, specifically that Ethan Irwin edition down there at the bottom. But we have Parker and Jesse Swift, which actually premieres on Wednesday, and then Paula Yam and Ethan Irwin, Chance Ellison and Moose Haas, and then Saul and Brandon Hanna. Saul gets his rematch up against Brandon Hanna in the first round. Thoughts?
Can you throw that up again real quick?
Yeah.
I'm stoked for Saul and Brandon Hanna, to be honest, because
Sure.
them announcing that collision and Brandon just like nodding his head was just great. And I know the whole history between the two of them. I think that's going to be a really fun one.
I think the Paul Oyama Ethan Irwin is
Interesting.
great because now
Interesting.
this rivalry has now transferred into a third division, which is always fun and interesting because it's and I like the matchup because this isn't like their specialty of choice. It's something that they're pretty good at. Oh, I mean, at least we know Paul's pretty good at it. We're gonna find out how good Ethan can be in Inner Geekdom. Certainly, I think Star Trek right in his wheelhouse, obviously. But that one is most intriguing because I know they both have great respect for each other, and now that they're entering a new division for the first time, well, Ethan is, and Paul's fairly young with the division. That is intriguing to me. But I think the one that is going to be a lot of fun to watch is Saul and Brandon Hanna.
That's mine too. Yeah.
That one's going to be a
Mine
lot of fun
too.
to watch. Yeah.
See, now I'm very curious about the Moose versus Chance.
That is a very interesting one too. These are all good. Damn.
And so Snake Jazz, I know you're Finstock. I don't think that's
Moose is legit. Moose is legit.
yeah.
This is
Moose is not someone to screw with. Like he's good.
But I mean, in the
He's-
sense that Chance won the tournament last year, and now Moose is going to have to face a tournament winner. I get it,
Yeah,
but
that's not someone I would want to draw in the first round. Like
It's-
ever.
I mean, Moose going up against Chance is like Jesse going up against Parker. It happens.
if anything, honestly, and this is no slight to Jesse, but like Chance should have played Jesse, Parker should have played Moose. If you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what this Paul and Ethan match does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Paul could be very sneaky. But I think I'm actually most interested about that Chance.
Because I mean,
move.
when you look at that bracket, like it's set up for Parker to reach the final. Not gonna lie, like.
Mhm.
Because
yeah.
Parker is going to have to face Jesse Swift, who, look, he's just not ready at this moment. He can be in the future, I believe, but like at this moment, he doesn't have enough time to really get up to speed, especially to the level of Parker. And then, forecasting ahead, Parker would have to play either Paul Oyama or Ethan Irwin, whose specialty is not Inner Geekdom,
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
favorable route for Parker. So again, Parker, much like last year, has expectations put on him. Crazy
Hi,
stuff has happened.
Yay! Yay!
Perfect timing, Brandon. Perfect timing. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up tonight's show, guys. So we get enough conversation about everything that kind of happened this week. Got the tournaments. Got to all 4 matches. Any final thoughts on everything that's been happening over the last week in Schmoedown before we kind of wrap up?
We're live.
I feel like the ball is just literally just picking up speed.
It's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I know someone asked in the chat if we have max predictions. We'll actually make those on the show this week on our reactions. So check those out on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Of course, check out the rundown with Frank every single Thursday at 6, Frank, right?
Yeah, sure.
Thursday at 6.
Sure.
You can check out our show first and then go to the rundown afterwards. Make sure you do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
we are live at that time as well.
Sure.
And then Jill and Molly, if you guys want to do a little happy hour plug, it's all yours.
Yeah. This Saturday, we are doing happy hour with one and only Paige for Brady. And it is going to be broadcast live from my new apartment. Wish Molly could be here. We'll have to plan one where Molly can actually join us.
Don't forget about me. I'll be on the computer screen, drinking by myself.
But it'll be a fun one. We're getting the drink underway, so should have that put in the next couple of days. But it'll be so. Make sure to tune in.
For sure.
I'm so excited for that.
That's going to be a fun one.
Me
That's
too.
going to be a real fun one. All right, before we head out, I'll let everybody kind of let their socials be known online to everyone watching. Frank, why don't you kick us off?
You can don't follow me. Actually, if you follow me, unfollow me. Unfollow me on Twitter. Unfollow me on Instagram. There's nothing there. Just you can unfollow me at FrankieJ29 on Instagram and Twitter, and have a pleasant evening.
Molly?
You can find me at Molly.
It's hard to follow that.
You can find me constantly messing with Alex for the next couple of weeks and changing all of his notes to wrong answers. And on Twitter at Molly Damon and Star Wars Explained, I guess. Whatever.
And Alex.
And Malix, yeah.
Brian?
B of Alcino on Twitter and Apocalypse Movies with Jake. What are we talking about on Tuesday?
Undecided because it depends on what people watch. Jill?
Jillian Marie on Twitter and Instagram, 2 Y's, 2 E's, and you can also catch me on Schmoedown posting reviews sometimes.
Oh.
She's getting too big for us, guys.
Yeah, we
Too big
we're
for
gonna
us.
have to start paying her.
Yeah, we might have to pay her to keep her. You can find me at Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's. Someone else took it before I did. Schmoedown POV on Twitter, Streamlabs, Patreon. Telling you guys it's a fun time. We just did our Harry Potter bar movie trivia. Jen Kemp won as far as the players go. Sean Wingblade, who's actually competing in the FCL tomorrow.
Yeah.
He won our Harry Potter trivia as far as our patrons go. So shout out to Sean and good luck tomorrow, bud. And then, check us out everywhere. Description. It has everything. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. And we look forward to more crazy Schmoedown in the coming weeks. Frank, thanks again for joining us, man. And
Thank
we'll
you.
catch you guys next time. Later, guys.
Bye.